you get to the bit at the end where it's just me on the piano, and I play really quietly. And I know I got them if I don't hear a peep out of them, if I hear total silence. Look, I come from 2 weeks of piano lessons and hanging out with the guys in Tangerine Dream and, and producing The Damned and, working with Trevor Horn and being in the first video on MTV. I mean, that's sort of... I'm not a classical composer. I'm not a classical film composer. I mean, I've worked with people I don't get on with, and then it just turns into like a bloodbath. I felt that the band was about as good as they would ever get during this show. And I wanted to sort of capture that and, for posterity. The other thing I thought, that to drag our show around is 15 articulated lorries and 13 buses. So we can't go everywhere, but film can go everywhere. And we are very expensive as a live show, for tickets. But I think cinema tickets can be cheaper, so people can see it. And the fourth thing was, just around the corner, Denis Villeneuve was shooting Dune Part 2, and it was like, the family was right there, so, and Dubai was this sort of extraordinary place where we could, I went, hey, why don't we do Gladiator in a Bedouin camp, and everybody just went, yeah, okay. So a lot of yeses, and working with Paul Dugdale was, our director, was really great. I just let him direct me, I just let him have his way. It was really good. I watch the other members in the band, and I skip every time I speak. I have no idea what I said. Because I always just make it up. So you never know what's going to happen,
Yeah.
I mean, look, can be really rude, can be really unfunny, can be really boring, whatever, Really, honestly, this festival here, which we did very early on, this festival called Coachella. And we were supposed to go on at 8 o'clock at night. I hear in my in-ears the lighting crew going, we can't get the lights to work. And I'm saying to the road manager, I'm going on at 8 o'clock, lights or no lights, and I look out and it's a complete shambles, I mean, just fabulous, mankind at its most disorganized. And I thought, wow, this is really funny. This is funny and fun. I can handle this, and so I went out, no lights for the first, 30 seconds, and they thought that was art, and then the lights came on, they thought that was art too, and I survived no lights, I survived. The other thing was, I didn't want to play Lion King, and I said, well, we definitely won't do Lion King. I mean, that's a children's movie. Let's not do that. And Johnny Marr's son Niall, said, "Get over yourself, Zimmer. That's the music of my youth. We're doing Lion King. Okay, fine. We'll do Lion King." And Johnny was there, Pharrell was there. It was, like I had my support team as well, my psychological support. So we're doing Lion King, and 80,000 people just start weeping, So that was quite surprising. And I don't know, it just we hit on something, and it really seems to work. Yes, absolutely, because you hear it through the audience somehow. You hear it through their ears. It's like through their emotions. You can feel when they get excited. They can feel when they, don't like a bit so much, and you can feel when they get really excited and all that stuff. So, and you do little sort of micro adjustments all the time. It feeds into this whatever you would call it, you're having with this dialogue you're having with an audience, you adjust your phrasing a little bit. It's interesting, it works. Finish the show as you see in the movie, but it's not quite like it is in the movie, with time from inception. And you get to the bit at the end where it's just me on the piano, and I play really quietly. And I know I got them if I don't hear a peep out of them, if I hear total silence. And that's usually what happens. People are really into that moment, and not just respectful, but they're emotionally are having an experience. That's great. An enormous amount of work, but at the same time, it's an enormous amount of work of not actually knowing if it's the right work. Because until we actually get out there in front of people, we don't know if Pirates shouldn't have started the whole thing off, or the Dark Knight should be in the first act, or whatever. It's just so we're just trying to be lucky. We're working on a totally new set right now. The movie is sort of the way of finishing that period.
Okay.
And we're working on a new idea right now, which won't happen till the autumn, but we're working on it now. I'm sort of sneaking up on it. I think it'll be more electronic in a way, because I love Kraftwerk. I come from. Look, I come from 2 weeks of piano lessons and hanging out with the guys in Tangerine Dream, and and producing The Damned, and working with Trevor Horn and being in the first video on MTV. That's sort of. I'm not a classical composer. I'm not a classical film composer. I'm not a composer at all. Actually, I just make stuff up. The huge advantage I have making stuff up is I'm always open to what's coming towards me. I'm always open to the director. I'm always open to the story. I don't mean. I always sit there listening to. It's always the same process. I go out for dinner with the director and not really read the script, and I say, "Tell me the story." Because then I know what's important to him, and you can tell from the tone as well, how the scene should play, etc. So that's one sort of, I suppose, different way that I handle the whole thing. I spent an enormous amount making demos and just sketching this whole movie out before they even shoot it. Like with Chris Nolan, like Inception, for instance, I was writing while he was shooting, and then he finished shooting. I said, send the movie over. And he said, not really. It's been going really well like this. Let's just carry on, And so I didn't see the movie until he put all the until I'd finished writing it, and he put all the music in. And then a period of adjustment, of course, happens. This could be better. I think this is the wrong tone, etc., etc. But we both knew what movie we wanted to make, and I'm not saying I wanted to make exactly Chris's movie, and he didn't want to make a movie that was exactly fitting my music. But that things would sort of. Would add, two different things would add up and become some fun experience. I was writing the music, and he had sent me a letter, with a fable in it.
Yeah.
But no, didn't tell me what the movie was about until I played it to him, and even then, there's a monumental piece in that movie. That I was just writing, and Chris came into the room, and actually that's where the piece stops, because he started talking. And I said, I don't know where it goes, but I think it's right for this film. And he said, yeah. He said, that I feel the same way. Don't know where it goes, but it's right for this film. Let's send it to Lee, our editor, who instantly took it, back synced it from where the rockets blast off, and it does the whole father leaving his daughter behind scene. Brilliantly, it hits every emotion at all the right times, and that is completely by chance, and it's completely not by chance. It's completely by that Chris and I feel time in a very similar way, and are the I don't know what you want to call it, just the emotional ups and downs of time. So I never say no to these things, and I mean as you can see in the film, I mean, we're good friends. But right now I'm having a lot of fun doing something completely different with Denis Villeneuve. So that's and I can only really invent for one. I'm not. I do multitask, but it's not very good. I mean that was the pretentiousness and arrogance of youth. I mean, when I was young and I was watching science fiction movies, and which I loved, and the first thing that would happen is, the good European, actually it was usually the LSO, would start playing, right from the beginning, and you go, really? So this is set in the future. This is a science fiction movie set in the future, and it's still just orchestral music like any other movie. I mean, can't it be? And that's why when I said to Denis, I'd love to build my own instruments. I would love to go and invent things, and keep the one thing. Actually, it's two things, but one thing absolutely purely human, which is the female voice. And then the other thing was Denis had shot the bagpipe guy when they arrive on Arrakis. And I forgot to tell him that the sound you hear isn't the bagpipes, but it's my extraordinary guitarist, Guthrie Govan. And we're in New York, and we're doing this question and answer thing after the screening, and somebody asked me about the bagpipe, and I'm going, well, actually, it's not bagpipes, it's Guthrie Govan. And Denis goes, what, my beautiful bagpipes are not my beautiful bagpipes? I'm going, no, I never told you, I suppose. Because, this goes on for a while, and then back to the chat with the audience, and he stops, and he goes, are there any other secrets you need to tell me? Any other confessions? Couldn't think of any, but I'm sure there are, It's just I tell you what's so great about Dune, and this is something I can't do with Chris, or haven't been able to do with Chris. I read the book, the Frank Herbert book, when I was 13 or 14. Denis wrote it. I read it when he was a teenager as well. I never saw the David Lynch one because I knew that wasn't the movie I wanted to make in my head. But with Denis, when he said to me out of the blue, had I ever read that book? And I'm going a little bit overexcited, and he realizes that I really, really, really know this book. What happened was that, in our heads, in our spiritually, we became those teenagers again, but we had made movies, so we knew how to make a movie. We knew how to do the work. We knew how to go and, bend reality until it becomes a movie. But the spirit was that of a teenager. The work was that of a knowledgeable craftsman. He's starting the third one any day now, so I'm excited. I think it's a different task.
Yeah.
I really do think it's a different task. I'm not really going to talk about it right now because there's still too many holes in my, like you got to lay out the theoretical ideas, and you have to be careful about that, because if you talk about it too much, you don't want to do them anymore. I do. I mean, I do, because what I always try to do is not write the music from sort of the outside. It's like what's a good example? A robbery is taking place. And you're bringing, late at night, and you hear the creaking of footsteps in the house and all this, and there's all this tension music going on. But really, what I want to do is write the music of how the robber is feeling. I want, like the Joker in The Dark Knight. I mean, that was always written from the inside of how he was feeling. As opposed to, I don't know, being objective. I know how to be objective. I've done Dunkirk's very objective, but it's. But the fun part is to go and write from the inside of the character. So I need to know them. I need to have a chat with them, and I need to be able to push them a bit as well. I'm working with Brad Pitt at the moment. I haven't actually seen him on this movie, but I just remember Thelma and Louise, which was sort of his first role, and it was just like, this young kid coming in and just lighting up the screen, and it was fantastic. Moments like this, Gérard Depardieu, the writing, becoming his character. Gladiator, I became a little too. So, I just became completely and utterly obnoxious while writing it.
Okay.
I don't know, it's you take on the mood of because you live it, it's not like a day job where you go home and it's all over. You're still there at 3:00 in the morning, and because you have an idea and all that stuff, and you dream about it, and then you get up again and you start writing again. So it never leaves you. Now, usually I'm on to the next thing. And there comes a point as well on the film where I now have laid out all my cards and I know what I'm going to be doing, and I'm already starting to think about the next thing a little bit, But the life thing, of course, is a completely different thing, and that's why for me it was important to go and do this film, because I mean, there are enough documentaries floating around about Hans Zimmer, the film composer, but nobody's really ever, I don't know, we never let anybody this close. My whole life is about somehow or the other creating experiences for other people that just shake them out of the misery of a dull life. I don't know how to say it. I mean, not everybody has a dull life, but I don't know. I think I want us to be like when I was a kid, when the circus came to town, it was a big thing. It was frivolous, it was dangerous, it was a little absurd, it was all of those things, but it was really, I don't know, it just marked some time away from homework and school and, everything they were telling us, and the absurdity was what was the great thing. And I think that's sort of pretty much what I'm doing. We are the circus coming to town now. Jerry keeps mentioning it. I'm working with him at the moment on something. He sort of very gently mentions it. Yeah, I think I would. Because it's absurd. It's so absurd. It's so much that, if we can keep that going, if we not keep that going, if we can find a new way of new crazy things, new ways of making you laugh, and new ways of making you believe in an absurd world, I'll be up for it. Instinctual is right, and you want to work with people you get on with. I mean, I've worked with people I don't get on with, and then it just turns into like a bloodbath. To perform is the Three Dark Knight things. My favorite to play is probably Time from Inception. I've found a new respect for The Last Samurai. Oh, it's not so bad, I was like, oh, I forgot about that one. It's actually quite good. I don't know. It's. I don't have a favorite. But some things are just nice to play. I mean, I love playing all the Dune stuff. But it's mainly because of all the other performers. I mean, Loire Kotler's voice just ripping through, the hall. The Dark Knight subwoofers going onto Stan. Actually, I was too close to them the other day, and they threw me across the room. So things like that. I mean, it's. Do you remember when I said music is about playing? It's the operative word is play. You're just talking to some irresponsible big kid right now. That's all that's happening, And the irresponsible big kid goes, I want to make a movie. I want to make a movie of this chaos that we create. And we make a movie. And, and I hope people go and see it, because I promise you nobody else will be as chaotic as us. I have goats in this movie.